Hey guys, and welcome back to WinaWonders. So, it's been a while, it's been a crazy month, and today I have a book haul for you which will hopefully be chill because
when there's nothing left to burn, you have to set yourself on fire.
Because today has been quite a day for me, as has been most of the days in the past 5 months. And I don't know, I'm really into like astrology and tarot and stuff, and the other day I was just kind of thinking like, where is the line, you know? Where is the line between kind of believing in that stuff and
just being batshit crazy?
Cancer season, super weepy. Everybody was super duper emo. Should people be allowed to feel so many things? Thank you. Next. Leo season. I've got my mojo back. Fire sign season, super motivating. Let us go. And then
working in a sales job will kind of fuck up your mechanism sometimes. Where you just equate being noticed, being liked, being pretty with getting promoted, making money, being successful, having self-worth,
and not being a crap human being. There is a segue to get over that. We bought books. So all of these books were from omniana.ph, and they are a specialty bookstore here in the Philippines. So the first one is a poetry book, and this is The After Party by Jana Prikril. Cover is beautiful. And we are Asian, so we kept the plastic on until the last minute. Satisfying sound of an impending disaster. Okay. Oh, I love this feel. You know when books have this feel where it's like, it's not matte, but it's almost like, you know that phase in the 90s when you would get family photos printed and then they would blow them up? The way that the blow up felt. It's like, it's a little bit grainy. Anyway, there's texture to it. I read part of this poetry collection online because I wanted to sort of get a glimpse before I blew any money on it. I think that this will be something I'll really enjoy. It has all of that mixing of like elegant language with urban language and, you know, philosophy with profanity and all of that good stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Up next is a book that I actually want to give as a gift. I'm giving this to my friend Austere, and I can show this because my friend Austere doesn't watch my videos. Yeah, so this is Red Dock by Anne Carson. Anne Carson is someone whose body of work is so interesting because on one hand, her body of work is extremely risky. One of her books, The Autobiography of Red, is like a modern epic written in prose where she takes this sort of misshapen creature and puts him in a Midwestern sort of suburban setting. So she's really into that, and I think I talked about this before on this channel. I can't remember because I'm like 50 million years old at this point, but she had a book called Float, which was a compilation of poetry zines, and I think that the catchphrase of that was, even reading can be free fall, or something close to that. I'm paraphrasing. And yeah, so I think it's strange because on one hand she is super duper risky with the stuff that she writes, but on the other hand also I think she's safe enough that if you get any Anne Carson book, if you like a certain register, you will enjoy it. You might not fully understand it, but you will definitely enjoy it. And my friend Austere super duper loves her, and he is writing his master's thesis on something that's kind of inspired by Autobiography of Red. So I just thought that this would be the perfect birthday gift for him. And yes, he is a Virgo. Let's try not to judge him. So this is Inland by Tia Obret. Tia Obret is one of my favorite writers. You know, there are some people who are just super exposed. Like, if you go to Fully Booked, if you go to Power Books, you're like, oh, there is a new novel. Like, for example, Zadie Smith. If Zadie Smith comes out with a new novel, we will know that Zadie Smith came out with a new novel. But that isn't the case for everyone, and that kind of makes me sad a little bit, and that kind of makes me appreciate also little stores like Omniana, because Tia Obret is the one who wrote The Tiger's Wife, and that book was like all over the place a couple of years ago. years ago. By a couple of years ago, I mean like 2012. So a couple of years ago. And that book is just one of my favorite books of all time. It's about this this doctor who goes to assist, like she goes to assist on a medical relief trip, and she sort of ends up pondering like her family history. She ends up sort of thinking about certain relationships that she has and relationships with her grandparents, and sort of how the war has been folded into everything that they've been through. And it was like a super slow burn read, not the kind of read that's plot driven at all, but it was just so freaking good. And it's a kind of book where you're so immersed in the sort of atmosphere of the book that you just find yourself not wanting to come out of it. And so I'm not gonna lie, my main motivation for buying this, aside from the fact that it was by Audre Lorde, is of course, oh yeah, and the pretty cover, is of course that I'm kind of looking for more escapism these days. And it's really weird that I think I've found that escapism in reading essays. I find that I don't have sort of the mental energy to fool or like trick myself into thinking like, oh, this novel is real, or like I will suspend my disbelief. I can't do that these days. So these days all I've been reading really are essays. Recently I've been reading The Empathy Exams by Leslie Jameson, and I've really been liking it. Like, it's a pretty heavy read, but for some reason, that's another thing, like heavier reads or books with stakes seem so much more inviting to me now. And maybe that's because I don't feel so sad after reading them. These days, whenever I try to read something that's super light, super fluffy, super like romancy, I just find myself kind of sad that that's not how the world is now. Not that that's ever how it was then, but now it just seems such a huge departure from that, or from even hoping to have that. So yeah, so I am hoping that really serious realist fiction will kind of end up being, strangely enough, kind of at par with essays. So yeah. And speaking of essays, and one of my favorite people to hear from, I also bought M-Train by Patti Smith. So in the past, I read Just Kids by Patti Smith, and Just Kids is a book that sort of meditates on the 70s, on coming of age, and in particular focuses on her friendship with Robert Mapplethorpe, who was a photographer, an artist, and also Patti Smith's best friend. And the thing about her and Robert Mapplethorpe is that they used to be lovers, and then basically Robert Mapplethorpe realized that he was gay, and so they ended up remaining friends. But even if that sort of sexual component was already gone from their relationship, they still had this very sweet, very sort of romantic friendship in terms of how emotional they were with each other, how intimate, and how they also sort of helped each other grow as artists. And that book was so good, like it was so good that at the time I was in Singapore with my sister, and actually I have a vlog of that which was super short. And the reason why that vlog was super short is because all I did on that trip was read. And my sister got super duper pissed off at me. She's like, ay nako, if you're just gonna read, why did you even come here? But you know, I mean, it's nice, right? Like, go to a cafe in Singapore, sit down with your book, and just take yourself back to the 70s when there was no such thing as a coronavirus. But anyway, so I'm super excited to pick this up because I know that this sort of meditates on life in New York City, different types of life in different places, and kind of the journey that Patti Smith took to become an artist and to find her voice in times when she felt like she didn't have it. And that's something that I need. Like, Patti, Mother Patti, tell me all your secrets. Just because, I swear, like, it's so strange the past few months. It's like this weird combination of like lethargy, feeling lethargic, and also feeling so unrealistically determined. Like, yes, I'm going to do everything. And then the next minute it's like, am I though? Like, am I actually going to do everything? Or anything for that matter. And I don't know. I know that it's something that everyone is going through, and it's just kind of a funk that we need to get ourselves out of, but also it's like dancing for rain sometimes, you know. So I hope that this will help it pour. Maybe. Okay, so the next book, again, still wrapped in the plastic, is one that I'm so excited for. I heard about this from my friend Cheska. So, funny thing about my friend Cheska is that she's stranded in Turkey, and it's kind of a nightmare because she'd been accepted to this job in Taiwan, and and previously she was in Germany, and when she got the job like in Taiwan, she went to Turkey because it was part of her route going to Taiwan and moving there. And then coronavirus happened and she got stuck in Turkey. So when I talked to her, she was like, yeah, I'm trying not to be super afraid and I'm just reading a lot of books. And of course she picked up a horror book. So I know that this is kind of horror suspense but written elegantly and written in a very literary way. And this is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarzuk. I'm sorry. If you know how to pronounce it properly, please let me know and I will look it up after, and I swear I will learn it in time for my reading wrap-up. But yeah, I hear that this is a very thrilling book and that it also has a lot to do with tarot cards and astrology, and that is my jam. Like, creepy? Check. Literary? Check. Tarot cards and astrology? Check. All of that to say, I also decided that I wanted to read more stuff by POCs and also more stuff that has to do with feminism, because a couple of months ago I was reading Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino and I learned a lot from that book. I feel like it really opened my eyes, but that said, Gia Tolentino is Filipino-American, and she mentions this in the book, that most Filipino-American people do tend to kind of identify with things that are a little bit problematic, you know. So I kind of wanted to get a different perspective on feminism, and I'd heard about Audre Lorde from my friend Kervin, who recommended me one of her essays, which was about poetry and how poetry is not a luxury but something that is necessary. And so this is Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches. And like I said, essays seem super accessible to me right now, and I seem to be craving for that kind of human interaction where people will just write about their lives and write about things that they're going through, write about ideas that they have. So yeah, I think of all of the books here, this is definitely one of the ones that is almost 100% going to be read within the next 2 months. Let's move on to the last book. Let's rip this baby apart. Omniana has such good packaging. Like, yes, it's just manila paper, but look at how it's wrapped. Classic, like, Christmas fold. It's a special fold. My dad taught me how to wrap stuff with this fold. Anyway, and then they always have your name on it, which I really like. Yeah, I know. I'm a sucker. You're paying for the packaging, but also I am. The cover of this is so good. Okay, so this is The Illness Lesson by Claire Beams. And this is a novel, and I think she's written short stories in the past. And I'm very interested in books that kind of tackle illness, whether it be physical or mental, and sort of juxtapose them with a kind of literariness, or tell them in that kind of literary way. And the thing is, I sort of had mixed feelings about buying this because on the one hand, I really want to read it. On the other hand, the person who left the blurb, and I know I'm like a blurb elitist, but you know, so sue me, is Elizabeth Gilbert. And I'm like, I wonder. So I think this is gonna be either something I love or something I hate. Anyway, my camera's blinking at me. Thank you guys for sticking around, for watching this video. Don't forget to like it if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!